Okay, welcome everybody to episode 8 of Meet the RSSG family. Today we are, God, we have with us Ke3bz. The word escapes me sometimes. English is hard. Um,
Oh,
we have Ke3bz, who is an admin. I've always wanted to know, are you the admin of RSSG? Like, are you the OG creator of RSSG?
should I tell you now or keep you waiting?
Oh, you can keep me waiting. You can tell me later on.
Okay. Yes, I am. So sorry, finish your introduction. We'll get into it. But
Oh, that was
yes,
the
short
introduction.
answer, yes. That was it. Oh, hey, hi, it's me, Keebs.
Yeah.
No, yes. So my cousin, Skooksadoo, was the one who started the Facebook group, right?
Hmm.
And he got me into part of that and was asking me for some help with some of that. And then I ended up being like, I want to make a Discord. I think this thing is going to be bigger than Facebook can really allow us to interact and become like the family I'm kind of looking for. And so with no I jumped into the deep end of Discord. I knew nothing about Discord. And just started like piecing this thing together. And it quickly turned into one of the like my favorite places on the internet. So yes, I am one of the OG admins. Another one you'll still see him kicking around. He's really busy in this season. When it gets summery, he's out working constantly.
Hmm.
Is gonna be Lord of the Drapes.
Sure.
So he's still in RSSG. He just gets super, super busy. We'll see him again probably around the fall. But he'll be back around. Skooksadoo, I think, is slowly making his way back onto the internet. He had otherworldly things I know for a while, like during quarantine, like internet and Twitch became IRL, the IRL of new today, like the millennials IRL.
Right.
So we all existed on here, and then real IRL kind of pulled him back. So
That's fair.
hopefully we'll
I
see
have
him again one day. But yeah,
I've been fortunate enough to run into Skooks kind of upon occasion. So
yeah, he still jumps in and supports whenever he can. So if you see his name around, just kind of give him a high five and
I
say,
usually see him in FPS streams. So
yep, he's a big shooter, man. He's top notch. Big man. Ever since we were kids, and I know we'll get into that because you kind of gave me a little bit of a preview of what you might ask me. But he has always, since we were young, like been a big, like major performer in first person shooters. Like one that you would sit and just twiddle your thumbs and be like, that was deadgum impressive. I don't want to play with you.
that was me in Super Smash Brothers amongst my friends.
Oh,
Um,
I dig it. I dig it.
and now that I'm an adult and I see professionals play this game, I'm like, yeah, I'm just a kid trying to play it, playing Super Smash Brothers. These pros are insane. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah. I started the you'll see this in the recording. I'm sure I stared at my screen, kind of making a face. My teeth look super white. Like, I must be either I'm brushing or this white is really nice to me right here. This light right here, this one, this is my friend. Thank
Yeah.
you for making me feel very confident about my pearlies. I think that they're not that white usually. So enjoy. There you go.
I mean, you can always do the Kleenex test.
That's a good point. I did do the TikTok where they like do the yellow filter and you're
Uh
supposed to hold something yellow up next to you. I passed. Okay. So
huh.
if there's one thing I can take with me to my grave, I'm writing down like, headstone things. That's the only one I got right now. But hopefully, maybe decent father or, okay streamer might make it there one day. Right now I've got one. I'm gonna hold to that too. TikTok yellow check mark. Okay.
I'm pretty sure what's going to be written on mine is no, guys, wait, I can save him.
No, we wanted to know what you wanted. Oh, no,
that's
no.
that's
Okay.
that's me in every game. Like, no, 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 I'm not going to let him die. No, you're going to die with him. So about your stream, we get around to everybody plays just a variety of games, it seems, on this server, and I want to give people an idea of what you play because I feel like it jumps around a lot, and that's always fun to catch.
Mm. Yeah, what I play, it's interesting because I want to play something that is engaging for everybody. And also I really like the idea that if I'm playing something, I can put it down if I need to, if there's something more pertinent with the people in the community, or if people want me to play drums or freaking, Cookie Monster destroys everything I'm doing. I need to be able to sometimes just halt it. But that doesn't mean I don't like to play multiplayer games. I'm borderline competitive. Where not in the idea that I don't like making other people feel less than, but I enjoy like doing well. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
absolutely.
I like the feedback loop of doing well in a multiplayer game. I like the feeling of performing well and being able to like live off that high, that excitement of
Hmm.
like sports used to give me. I like that. But if I'm being honest, like I like narrative games. I like things that I can kind of overly like narratively pontificate over top of like with people. That's I enjoy that. I like voice acting like with the characters along with it. I like kind of creating our own narrative alongside the real narrative. Like I like games like that. So it started off, the games that I was really interested in were like anime games. I started my first game I played on stream like with people that was, kind of actually talking to someone, not just the wall. Me and the wall became very good friends when I was streaming, okay? She is beautiful. So it was Genshin Impact. Okay, so it was Genshin Impact and like Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. Those are like the two games that like I started on in my streaming journey like a year and a half ago, and I kind of live off those still in that realm of things. But I moved on to like Monster Hunter and other things that I can still pause if I have to, or kind of like take a step back and interact with people, and then go back to it. So I stick with the ones like that, but still we move into first person shooters like Halo and Shotgun Farmers and Phasmophobia, stuff like that we can actually do on the fly too. It just depends. Whatever anybody wants to see me suck at doing, I'm just like the flavor. Okay, that's what I'm into. So yeah, but I think it's always evolving. Like sometimes I'm really excited about something, and then I have to talk myself down, being like, that's not a game I should stream. Like nobody wants to watch that. I'm not going to do that, and I just play it by myself over in the dungeon. But there are a lot of ones where I'm excited about it, and then I do bring it, and I'm like, this would be great, and everyone's like, not really. I'm like, oh, okay, that doesn't hurt my feelings. No, it really doesn't. But it's just kind of like, well, I misjudged like how fun this might be engaging to everybody. Like they don't want to watch you play that. And I get that. There's a lot of games that just aren't interesting to watch somebody play, you know what I mean? And so there's some that like I think are going to be good that I want to play that aren't, and there are ones that I want to play that I don't think will be good that I'll play by myself. And every once in a while, those two cross the streams, and it's a magical combination.
Right.
And that's been a couple of horror games, stuff like that. That's really worked with my stream. But things like Monster Hunter Rise has been a huge, huge success for it, and I can't wait for that. There's going to be a big update coming in later in June for Sunbreak, and that's primo. That's good. That right there. That's my content.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people are excited about that new content. So,
Yeah.
I think they talked a little about it maybe during the state of play, but I could be mistaken.
Yeah, it would have been during Nintendo's Direct. They talked about it quite a
Oh,
bit, and
right.
they did like a Monster Hunter kind of focus thing too as well. Monster Hunter Capcom did their own, event for it because it's on PC and Switch now. So
Hmm.
like the Direct doesn't get all of it, but there's still like some Nintendo centric content like with Amiibo and everything like that.
Right.
So I mean, it's still got like kind of that Nintendo sway, and my character on Nintendo is way farther ahead. But on PC, it looks really good. It
Yeah,
looks really good. And I know you play a ton of like slice of life games,
I
and
do. Yeah.
I love those. Like if I ever get the chance to play those, usually during like when I do my really rare morning streams, we
Hmm.
do just like a coffee and chill, and I'll play things like Trader Life Simulator, and we'll play like some top-down RPGs and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, otherwise it's usually a little more hectic. I like to go kind of crazy.
Yeah, the game I've actually been getting into like the most recently is Legends of Runeterra, and I'm not a card player game. Like I don't play card games at all, and I just got hooked on this game. Like it's crack for the RPG player in my brain. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
I mean, it was great to watch, and I know you were saying, I was like, "Hey, is it better than the other card games?" You're like, "I don't know. This
Yeah,
one's good."
like I can't say. Like I know that the fact that it has a player versus environment mode makes it a lot better for me because I don't,
Sure.
you know, I'm not dead set on winning, but I don't like to lose either.
Yeah.
So if I,
Especially not like a lot.
yeah,
It starts then, we are talking about like the positive feedback loop. The negative feedback loop is the same where it's like might make you never play a game again. That's me with League of Legends.
yep,
Like a lot of people have been going back to League, and like I've had such a bad experience, and it's a me problem and the community problem. It's a little bit of both.
yep,
Like the League community has always been so toxic, like you touch it and you
absolutely.
might not have an epidermis left. But it's also me sucking at MOBAs, okay? I can't me no MOBA. I can't do it. I wish I could, but for some reason the gears don't connect. They're either too greased up or they're not the right size, but the gears don't connect for me and I can't do it.
I
I've
mean,
tried.
I've been hard stuck gold for 8 seasons, so I definitely don't define myself as good at that game.
Hey, I if there was a bronze, I'd find it. Okay, so
I
you're
mean, it used to be bronze was the lowest tier, and then now they have iron. And when I first started playing League, like the people who are Iron 4 now are
Mhm.
better than the people who were Bronze 5 back then because people just
That's
they have
crazy.
more knowledge now than they did when I first started playing. So
Sure.
it's very yeah, I know like I see Iron 4 games and I'm like I was not that good when I was in Bronze 5 like back in season 3 and we're now in season 12. So,
Yeah.
um, so where do you get started in gaming? Like, what was your introduction to this crazy world of gaming?
Well, I would say my introduction to like what video games were was just at my grandparents' house. They just had an NES. It just existed in the basement. And so there was like, and I don't know what your experience with basements were as a child, but like basements scared the crap out of me. So like you didn't want to go in the basement. Like there was if you did at the time, like there was a room where my uncle lived that had like this is gonna sound weird. He was just a rocker, man. The dude is like hardcore. There was just like like freaking bones, skeleton heads of animals and like mounted things. And you'd go past, he'd be playing like, death metal and stuff. I didn't want to go past it. Okay. I didn't want to go down there. So like I would have to like break my will and bust through that wall of terrifying death metal and make it to the Nintendo. And then if I did though, there was a nice room. It had carpets, the little rocking gamer chairs of old. Like heaven waited on the other side of hell. I just had to bust through those doors, okay? And when I did, it was such a good experience. And we had like Chip and Dale, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers at the time was like one of the games we had. We had, original Mario Bros. So we had Mario down there. What else? A Duck Hunt. We had Duck Hunt. And so it was those three games really that got me like introduced in what gaming was. Now, what got me into being a gamer, because at the time, like my family would play those games too. Like, I mean, everybody was enamored with the NES. Like, I was so young that like I know that my family knew, they knew what it was, they were interested with it, but nobody wanted to buy one. Nobody else in my family was like a gamer. So like I didn't have the opportunity to be a gamer because I was too young to like buy my own. They weren't gonna buy me one. I was still kind of like a baby-ish. So I was first introduced to being a gamer when I would go to my grandparents' same house but in the future, from the future, I was a little bit older, and there was a Blockbuster, and you could rent consoles. I don't know if you remember that is archaic. I'm talking about like my bones are gathering dust. You could go and rent a console for the weekend, and so my grandpa would rent me an N64, and we get an N64, and we get Mario 64, or we get Wave Race, or we get something like that. There was only a couple games at the time, so you get those, and we had playing for the weekend. We'd have to return it, and I'd go home, and I wouldn't have it. That was it. So WYSIWYG, what I saw is what I got, and once it was gone, it was gone. So I was a gamer for small increments. Okay, I would get little hits, little injections. My eyes would start to sag. I'd get the bags. I'd get the itches. I'd be like, I really need an N64, ma. And so finally, it was. I mean, years later, I got and what I didn't even get like an N64. I got a Super Nintendo, but it was cool. I got a Super Nintendo and it was the Donkey Kong Country version. I remember it so vividly in my head. It had like the Donkey Kong Country thing up there. I got like a VHS of like Donkey Kong, episodes on it. It was crazy, all that stuff. And so then I became like a gamer. Went to garage sales. I got a bunch of Super Nintendo games. I played everything from like Goof Troop all the way down to like Star Fox on the Super Nintendo. So it was that was it. That was my beginning. And it all started, from like kiosks. You go and play a kiosk, you see Mario 64 up in like a Kmart, and you're looking at this thing being like, that's real. You guys see that's real. You guys see this? Like this is real life. I don't know how they did it, but like it's real. And I know, we all suspend our disbelief anymore. Like we thought it was real and now we're actually getting almost photorealistic.
Yes.
At the time, my tiny little poop brain was just blown away. And so when I finally got one, then I couldn't stop playing games. And ever since then, I mean, bless my mom's heart, the rest is history.
Yeah.
I've gotten like every console since because after that, like N64 was bought, for me by my parents. Eventually, it was the family console. But I bought my first console that I bought was a GameCube. So like I came out of the chrysalis, I busted through, as you will appreciate, the analogy. My wings finally flourished, and I got a couple of colors, even though they were just gray and a weird pale peach. Okay, I wasn't a good-looking butterfly, but I came through with GameCube, and I could afford one game, and it was Rogue Squadron, and I lived off the crack of Rogue Squadron for as long as I had to until I bought Super Smash Bros. Melee midnight release at Toys R Us, and here I am today. I was born anew.
And Super Smash Brothers would never be that good again.
Well, I mean, I agree. I disagree. I think that it will never play quite as beautifully rigid as it
Yes.
did in Melee, but I think the game has evolved wonderfully. It is a great celebration of video games now. It was the perfect like competitive fighting game, and
Mhm.
now it is the perfect celebration of video games in
That's
like
true.
the most pure ways possible. But I agree. And there's no contesting it. That's why they still play it professionally. But anyways, yes, long-winded. I should take a breath. My asthma is fighting me right now to shut up. Um, But that's yes, that's where I was born from. The very fires of death metal and Super Nintendos into the N64 of GameCube anew.
So I usually follow up with a couple questions about RSSG, but for the most part, you've already answered them. And then asking you how RSSG has affected you as a streamer isn't quite as relevant as it is to the people who join RSSG, because in a lot of ways, you're affecting them more than they're affecting you. I think you might agree. Like, you actually showed up in my stream one day when I first became a member of RSSG after you warned me about needing to be active and that I might be booted, and that was fair. Like, I deserved that.
Sure, and
Um,
there's never anything personal. We just have to,
yeah, no,
just
I know. And so I was like, this is real. And then like 3 days later, you popped up in my stream and you're like, how are you not affiliate yet? Let's get you there. And then like 24 hours later, I'm affiliate. So like, you have no idea just the enormous impact you've had just on me as a streamer, especially when I was so small and getting started. Not that I'm not still small, but I'm not as small.
Oh,
So
that's really cool to hear. Thank you for saying that. No, and I would also spin it around like I wouldn't exist if it weren't for RSSG either because I never really had any aspirations to stream until I kind of had the family of RSSG to kind of gather arms around and like go into the crazy world of Twitch. Like I am a very very anxious person. So even if I would have been yeah, that's it. Hey, there you go. English is pretty tough sometimes.
yeah.
Even if I'd have been leading the charge, what's letting and leading? You want to? We're gonna not gonna talk about English. English pisses me off. Okay, leading the charge with RSSG and letting other people go and play on the playground, I probably would have just stayed behind and like cleaned off the swings and everything. But amazing people, like Max and Skates and Skooks and people like that, kind of drug me along and were like, "You should, you should do this with us." And I didn't know, what to make of it, but now here I am, like having a great time, doing what I do, for RSSG, but also being a part of the group because there are so many people like you and other content creators in there that do amazing things that my brain is nowhere near as capable as being as creative as so many of you. And for me to see that from something that I was able to kind of bring to life, in a way, shape, or form, and whether it is still forming and that shape is amalgamate, I don't know. But the way that it's going, I am so impressed and I'm so blown away by what this group has become and the people that are coming out of it and the goodness that they are spreading out there and the kindness and how like when you see the RSSG name, it's usually synonymous with somebody doing something very nice or a smile or a good story or a new streamer we want to meet or, a game coming around, and everybody wanted to play it together. It's always like that experience that I've wanted like RSSG to be associated with. Even if at some point it stopped being like this kind of safe haven for small streamers, it would always be that family that moves around to who needs it. It's always that orb that is going to fall around that third person player, like shining a flashlight on points of interest. It's like, oh, over there, that person really needs help. We should all just like attack with kindness. And that's what it's been. It's ravenous in love. And I really appreciate that. And it's kind of something I couldn't have predicted. You never can with Discord is it's a crazy beast because you can make it with the best intentions in the world and watch it go up in flames because the people that joined it did not only have the same intentions as you but use it however they want to. And there's only so much power when people who are doing it, we're all just we're just using our free time to do it. And so we can't always keep the leash on. So what it's turned into is just beautiful. And I have to thank you and everybody else in there who has really made it into this wonderful, beautiful thing that it's become. It's definitely not me.
Uh, well, I mean, this will transition into the next question here. Certainly, looking at your stream when I first became a streamer, I was like, that's who I want to be. And then as I developed as a streamer and the more
Like,
people
no,
came
it's
in,
not.
the more people came into my stream, they're like, I would get things like such and such has followed you. And they're like, I'm dropping the follow because this is just such a chill stream. And I'm like,
Mm,
you're right. Like,
mm.
that's probably who I am anyway. I should stay there. We should just stay a chill scene for people to come into. So certainly being a member of RSSG has allowed me to like come to terms with who do I need to be as a streamer to grow the way that I want to grow and develop the community the way I want to develop the community. Because
Yeah.
without people like Nav and Karsa and Dudar like really having a major impact on me as a streamer, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today, and I certainly wouldn't have this avatar.
Right. Oh yeah, because that was Carson, right?
Right? Yep.
Yeah, and there's a lot, and I've heard that a lot, and this is, because I'm the first one to tell you, the stuff that I make and the person that I am are just bottom tier. Like I know that, I'm aware of it. You're blowing smoke and you're very good at it. I don't know who taught you how to be like a master of smoke signals, but You blew them well, and you're blowing them right up the old bum. So, but you know, me, I am what I am. Like it or leave it, I'm gonna be here anyways. But you know, when people are like, oh, I need to be as energetic, like you're crazy. I want to have that energy. I'm like, first of all, no, you don't, because Spider-Man talks about gifts and curses, and the two are synonymous. All right, just you don't want it. But at the same time, not everybody's looking for someone to be a version of something that is already out there. You know, it's like if I put on, you know, a mullet and sunglasses and I was permanently trying to be, you know, Dr. Disrespect in another way, they don't want that because he exists. He's there. Like his energy is real, it's pure, it's already been made. And you can, you know, you can always kind of tell when something is disingenuous, not only for the people that are watching, but inside yourself. You'll stop to be able to connect in a true way to the people in your stream and the content that is being created on your stream if you're not truly being who you are connecting with, especially with video games. Because people like to assume that video games are just kind of this, you know, really easy to interact with, like it's one and done, you press some buttons, you're out. There's a much bigger artistic and fully emotional and pure connection between humans and video games if you let it happen. And the only way for you to truly share that with your community, with the people in your stream, is for you to be you. And I see that, you know, with pretty much everybody in RSSG. You know, some that have stopped streaming are ones that were kind of using us for some clout and stuff. You know, we saw it. We know a lot of us in the admin, we would be like, this person is trying to, you know, either use us or they're not being real, or you know, stuff like that. And then you see it kind of fade away because it was draining them, it was pulling them away from streaming, it was hurting their gaming experience and stuff like that. So you have to find out who you truly are in connection with your stream and let that broadcast out to what you want everybody to interact with you on a stream. You don't want to, you know, find someone, and it's okay to aspire to, you know, if you're like, oh, I like their vibe, you know, I like that look, I want to have that type of, you know, transitional power, you know, from scene to scene. I want to be able to press buttons and things like that happen. Like, of course, we all watched somebody that we looked up to. Otherwise, we wouldn't be streaming. We didn't, you know, the streaming didn't just like one day. We didn't create streaming. It already existed. Therefore, we have all been influenced by an influencer. It's why they're called that. And so we made our way into doing this by way of someone giving us a pull. So I get that, but I also get the idea that you should always be you because one, yes, I love your vibes too. I love hanging out with you. The games you play, like it is a slice of life, and the way that you present it to us, the way you always let me know when a Pokemon's in chat, the way that you are always very kindly talking about pretty much anything I bring up, whether or not it's pertinent to what you're doing or not, whether or not that ticks you off. I don't know. I apologize one way or the other, but you always engage one way or another. And I think that it's a great place to be. And I can tell it's you. And I feel like that is the most golden opportunity possible. You say you're rated gold. I think you might be platinum, and maybe not in League of Legends, but you are in streaming. So I'd say, you know, keep doing exactly what feels right with you to connect with everybody and to connect with your game. Don't ever let that go, and don't sacrifice it to try to be anything else out there just because it looks like it might be working. You need to be true to yourself. So.
Well, now I have to wonder who's blowing smoke now. I'm only
I
kidding, of course.
I tried to smoke one cigar in my life, and I inhaled. I choked for like 3 hours. I got no smoke to blow. Okay.
uh, you may or may not remember this, but we had a conversation, you, Carson, and I, back when we were discussing the charity event that Carson and I did.
Mm-hmm.
And it stuck with me from that time because one of the first things you said to us was, wow, you two are exactly like in real life what you are on your stream. And it's like that stuck with me all this time because I keep thinking back on it because I thought that was a huge compliment.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And you know, I aspire to maybe be true to myself a little bit more in the energy, you know, the one-to-one, but like Ke3bz is you know, Ke3bz is he's up there, you know, and the most interesting thing, I'd say the polar opposite of that is I get on podcasts sometimes, right? And they'll be like, wow, you sound nothing like you do on your streams. And I'm like, listen, dude, do you really want that the whole time? I mean, do you want to come? I'll come at you for an hour and a half if you want me to, but like I'm putting the claws away and I'm trying to come at you. My name is Jared, by the way. And so if you want Jared, you know, I can give you little spits of Ke3bz, okay? I'll salivate for a bit. I'll hock to, you know, right where I need to, and we'll get the Ke3bz in there. But like, it's not something everybody wants all the time, you know? And people ask Beebs all the time, like, is he like this all the time? And she's like, no, we wouldn't be together. Like, what? And you know, my kids, they get enough of that too. Like it's an energy that is truly inside of me. It's my pure joy. Me and gaming, that's Ke3bz, okay? You take Jared, you add in like PlayStation, you add in PC, you add in Nintendo, and you have Ke3bz. It's true. None of it is a lie. I'm not putting on airs or anything like that. Like it's me, but it's just not me all the time, you know? Because like I don't connect with doing chores like I do video games. I don't connect with talking about, anime sometimes like I do video games. So sometimes I just like to have conversations. And sometimes, I like my voiceover voice. I like to, talk in normal ways. And then, I gotta shut down the register. You gotta bring it down 3 or 4 and stuff like that. And so things change. So I'm not always who I am that you might see on TTV/Ke3bz, but I like to, be that as much as I can so I don't make people think that I'm fake, because I promise you that it's real. It's just it's a lot for me too.
We always, and I'm not the only one wondering because I've talked about this with a lot of other streamers. We have to know how many caffeinated beverages do you imbibe in a day?
You
Like,
know what's funny? And I think I when you first you kind of tantalized that you were going to ask me this. Let me I'll say this, and I hope it blows your mind. When we have streams, and I have my energy drink right here that I'm drinking like throughout the stream, 9 times out of 10, I don't even get through half of it through my stream because I'm so busy. I don't even get to like caffeinate. And throughout the day, I have 1.5 coffees, like just regular coffees. I don't have like heavily caffeinated energy drinks throughout the day. I have one, and it's usually half of one at night when I stream. And so, like, what it is puritanical, absolute atmospheric energy that comes from connecting with people and video games. It is my entire life. I've always wanted to be in games journalism. I've always wanted to be a video game developer. I've always wanted to create video game music. I've always wanted to voice act for video games. Like, video games and me, that is my purest of soul joy. And so what comes out of me is, I guess, my own version of like secreting caffeine. Like, it comes out of me, and then I guess it goes back in because I usually don't take bathroom breaks. So however gross that might be, I don't know. That's up to you. But it's what's funny is, like, I really don't drink much. It's shocking. You'd think I would just like live on an IV of Wraith and G Fuel, but I just don't.
absolutely. I can't imagine going through a stream. Like, I'm at the bathroom like every hour and a half in my stream, but I'm also diabetic, so that kind of, you know,
Right.
plays into that.
You're fighting an uphill battle with the old P train. Now, I will say there have been some, like the 12-hour and the 24-hour a couple of times. Like, I mean, I'm like trying to get to a pause point in the game. I'm like, hold on. It's just like, and you go, and that pee is like, oh, it is bliss. When it happens, you're like, woo! It's like road trip peas. Like, you one of those and you're like, yes. And then you go back down, everything's new, the world is in color again.
It's not
Great.
yellow.
It's purely not yellow anymore.
So I don't know how long you've been streaming. So I don't
Mhm.
know like how far along in your goal as a streamer you've gotten, but what is your like penultimate goal as a streamer?
My penultimate goal. I think kind of what I said to you before, my passion is just working in video games. I wouldn't say that I don't see myself as being someone who people really want to watch in the long term. I feel like it might be, I have to be grading on people already. Like, I mean, a bunch of cheddar cheese, I've graded you down to fine little slivers at this point. I can't imagine that you all want me around much longer. So I'm hoping that at some point, by doing this and creating content, I can make a connection and work with a company and be a personality, for a video game company or a publisher or sect of video games, or, another personality, and help them out or something. I'd love to do it, for the rest of my life. It'd be great. I want to create content full time, whether that is streaming or music or any type of, content creation. Like, that is my dream. It always has been. So if this can be an avenue to that, great, whatever it leads to. But also at the same time, I want to keep, like, if I can keep growing and like a rising tide raises all ships and all y'all have amazing boats I want to bring with me, if we can keep raising this thing up together, I'll take it as far as we can go, because I just love seeing happy faces, and all y'all are just, your smiles are just, y'all are intoxicating. So if it continues exactly as it is, this is one of the biggest W's I've taken in my life. This is great. I never thought that I'd be able to game with so many awesome people. Okay, so like, this is it. The penultimate goal has been surpassed. But if I can dream, if we're talking like dream goals, it is connecting and being a part of the video game industry in some way, shape, or form. That's what it is.
Okay. So now we get to my favorite part. Uh,
Oh,
I've got to hear this funny or awkward story. I hope you prepped one.
funny or awkward. Okay, what specifically?
So I've told people that they can do like, I had this funny or awkward thing happen on stream,
Oh,
or I had this funny or awkward thing happen in real life. Like, I'll take whatever you want to give here. Just it's like
I just I got one for you, and I told it like at a really weird time during a stream, and I don't even know if anybody was listening. It might have just been like, it was late, so a lot of lurkers, and my Filipino friends were just waking up, and the UK people were like, "Shut up, I'm on my way to work," and so like, this just happened recently, and I think you'll appreciate this because it was just so embarrassing. I was doing sound, right, and I was mixing sound, and at the end of a service, I kept like the music going. We're trying to keep the atmosphere like at a certain spot, and they were like, just keep it kind of like at that same level of intensity and everything until everybody's done doing what they're doing. I'm like, okay, no worries. And so I've got the same loop going, and it's 5 minutes. I'm like, okay, 10 minutes. I'm like, woof. All right, well, there's still a couple people down there. It's like 15 minutes. I'm like, you know what? There's still two down there. And I get a message on the radio. They're like, hey, why don't you switch over to some exciting music? People are gonna be coming in, whatever. I'm like, you know what? We got a couple people down there. They look like they're having like something intense. I'm gonna let it stay. And they're like, no, we really think you should, switch the music over. And I'm like, no, no, trust me. I'm just gonna wait, whatever. And so I wait a little longer. And as they turn around and I can see them, they're signing to each other and they're doing American Sign Language. And I'm like, so the only people I'm waiting to change the music on are the only people in this entire place that can't hear the music. And yet, and there's like people walking into this like awkward, weird kind of vibe where I've been trying to keep it and they have no clue. And I'm just like, oh, and then they over the radio, they're like, can you change music? I'm like, yes, I can right away. Let's just do it. I was like, oh no.
Oh
Oh,
man.
but at the same time, hopefully it was just out of respect, okay? It was fine, but it figures. The one time I stick to my guns, I'm like, no, the moment must stay. I do not want to interrupt. And it's like you couldn't have interrupted if you tried, bud. Like, oh man,
Oh,
whatever.
that's
It
too
is what it
funny.
is. Yeah,
Uh,
but I'm awkward like 90% of the day. So if you want a funny story, just put a camera on me, man. Put on a GoPro. I just, everybody, if you're wondering, if you want to strap a GoPro like to me and or to have a drone follow me around, there's your funny story. It's my life. Enjoy.
yeah, yeah, I feel that way sometimes too. I tell people that I used to do stand up, which is
Huh?
true, and
That's so cool.
I wasn't very great at it. I opened for some people, but it was fun until like I wasn't listening to people. They were always like, "You can't keep coming up with new material every week. You're gonna burn out." And I'm
Mm.
like, "No, I've got this. I know what I'm doing." I burned out,
Yeah.
and that was the end of my time as a stand-up comedian.
Well, now, hey, think of it this way, and I think of it the same way too. That like all the things I've been doing over the years, whether it's in a rock band or a sound designer, voice actor, all of that stuff, like led to the moment where I can use it all on stream. And you are too, because you're very funny. You're very funny, and it's fun to listen to you just kind of randomly riff on things. So you're still a stand-up. It's just you can sit down while you're doing it.
Yes,
So
exactly.
it's the same thing. So don't think that you've stopped. You're funnier and to more people probably. So
Right.
it's a win.
Yeah, I mean, well, the stuff that I used to talk about in stand-up comedy, I don't talk about on stream. It's a
That's
little beyond like I allow a little level of adult on my stream, but not that much.
That's fair. That's fair. I appreciate that too.
Yeah, I try to keep things family friendly. So,
Yeah, I do
uh,
too. I do my best.
so yeah, looking through the questions,
Mhm.
you have pretty much answered just about everything. Um, this series, when I
Mhm.
approached you with this series, what was your
Yeah.
original thought about it?
I was excited to see like what the format might look like, because like everybody creates different things, whether it's shorts or TikToks, or if they're full YouTube videos or podcasts, or if they turn them into like stream content, they react on them. I was just more curious as to what that would look like, because there are so many ways to approach these anymore. And I
Right.
like the way that you did kind of like the vertical split, the one off. It kind of looks like like a split screen video game, and it's just like a real interview. It feels very late night. And
Right.
so like I like how that kind of turned out, but I had no doubt you'd do a good job. I mean, again, I've talked to you so much in streams. I've talked to you, I talked to you in Carsa early on. I knew you'd do a good job, and I know you're a good writer. I've seen everything that you write. So like, I mean, not everything. I've seen what you've written. As far as when we were connected and doing our thing. So like,
Yep.
I've, to me, I had no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind it was going to be good. Honestly, like for me, when someone approaches me about any type of like creative endeavor, immediately like I've got a million ideas, and I've learned to just like shut up and let people do their thing. Cause like I immediately am like, you know what you could do? It's like, no, dude, they don't care. They don't care. They've got something to do. If they need your input, they'll ask for it. Okay. And I'm doing better, because I used to be a creative that was on teams and we had to immediately throw out all of our ideas. Otherwise, we would just drown in self doubt because we'd never get anything picked up. So, like, for a long time, I was just always casting my rope. So now I know better just to reel it in. And you're doing a great job. It's awesome.
I
Very, very good.
actually approached this with, oh, we could do all these really cool transitions, and then we could have music playing in the background. And I was like, the very first video I had music in, it took like 2.5 hours for YouTube to approve it, to scan through the music and make sure there was nothing. And I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? The interview is the point. That's the
Yeah.
point of the whole thing. I don't need crazy transitions. I just want to be this. I want the experience to be real for the viewers.
Right. And it is. It's great. I really like it. You're doing a great job.
Well, I appreciate that. So then, that now I just have to ask if there's anything else you want to let people know about your streams, especially like, I don't know, drums and Cookie Monster and
It's one of those things that, like, I really want you to take away something that is purely like an almost like an NFT. And I'm not, whether that is non-fungible or I'm not fungible. I don't know. It depends. I don't find myself very fungible, but it's usually hopefully fun. So if
Mhm.
if you ever like want to come in and have a purely like you experience, just say something off the wall and engage, and we will riff and improv on that. And hopefully, if it turns into Cookie Monster, if we end up playing drums, if my face transmorphs into some really terrible looking anamorphic creature, just roll with it. Okay. I'm just there to, have a new experience with everyone every time we go live, whether that ends up being musical or video game related, or we're just chatting about life. I hope to bring something that just either makes you smile or you lay in bed and you're like, what happened to me today? Like, I might have been virtually violated and I just don't understand. It's like, well, that's you've made it to a Keep stream. And jump in again.
Yeah, I know. Like, I use your dad bot redemption to just unload the puns that I can't put in other people's streams because they don't like them.
Like, I've always enjoyed riffing with you. I feel like we have a good time when we just like jump on a subject and just go with it.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, Dad Bot's a great icebreaker. So if you don't want to say anything and you want Dad Bot to do it, just type exclamation point dad joke and he'll do the rest, man. And he sucks. So he's right on brand.
Well,
Cool.
unless you have anything else, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time. I know you are so busy, and getting you in for an interview has been difficult, but it's definitely been worth it.
I apologize and I thank you for being patient. And I'm glad that I'm able to get healthy finally. It felt like it was never going to happen, but here we are. I know you were sick too. So I'm
Hmm.
glad you're feeling well. Thank you for squeezing me in. I know there are so many amazing creators to get to, and you put me right in there. This will probably never air. So for everybody out there who finds this on the Bales cut of the show, hi. Ke3bz, this was my lost interview. If I died and my headstone only talks about that one thing we mentioned earlier, at least it's not the fact that I went down and couldn't save my friends like Bales over here. Okay, so
I do remember when I told you earlier about this interview, I said it's going to be the longest interview we've had, and
dang,
I
I
just
didn't mean.
knew that from because I know who you are. Like, I've been in your streams, and I expected this to be the longest one, and quite frankly, I wanted it to be the longest one because you have that energy that I really want people to be able to see, so that they come to your stream and they're like, this is the admin of my group and the streamer that I want to get to know, that made all of this possible for
That's very
for
sweet.
me.
You're
So
very you're too sweet. As a matter of fact, water it down a little bit. Okay, come on. You're talking
it's
about that diabetes. Are you trying to spread it to me? That's too much sweetness. Come on.
I mainly drink water. You know this. So there's no sweetener in that water.
Yeah, I gotcha. Dude, thank you. That is so kind of you, and I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to your cam reveal. That's gonna be a ton of fun. So
Hmm.
make sure you post that in the special events
Absolutely.
in RSSG. Okay. I mean, the admin says do what you're gonna do. Okay.
Fair enough. All right. Well, thank you again. And for you viewers out there watching this episode, I hope you really enjoyed it. We're going to be creating folders for our interviews, so this will go in the admin folder once we get it created. So
Cool.
thank you for viewing.